on the things?
I see us.
Jordan is telling us.
On Twitch,
Twitch? Chuck?
Facebook. YouTube is sending data. There we go. Streaming.
Bam! Roll it!
The history of the Gallic lands is one of struggle, punctuated by moments of sheer brilliance.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story. Howdy, boys and girls. Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I'm Rocky. It's Eric.
Oi.
With his razor blade.
So I couldn't get a razor blade up there,
sorts.
so I decided to do where is it? A business card.
Yeah.
I was wondering what you're doing with
A
that.
salesman to the end. A salesman to the end. And behind
Make you an
the
offer you
camera,
can't
our little inset buddy, we have Mr. Marty today.
Hi, guys.
Marty's fresh back from his lobotomy.
Yeah.
So Marty has a very, very monotone voice, and we joke about this all the time. So that's Marty. Yeah, Mac is away, Ian's away, Allie's off today. So y'all
was the
get
fourth
Marty.
resort.
Yes, exactly. And he's even here while still being ill. So we appreciate him being here in general. Yes.
Stay away from me.
All right. So what are we going to be drinking today? Well, because I forgot that we did it 2 months ago, we are drinking again the Shield Egg 18.
The same thing we drink every night, Pinky.
Apparently. Lots of whiskey. There we go. For you and for me.
Wow, that's a really messy pour.
Yeah, I'm trying to be quick. And Marty, because of medication, is not going to be drinking. So there you go. Cheers.
The world is in chaos.
Indeed. The world is indeed in chaos. But we still have Shield Egg 18. If you want to sponsor me, Shield Egg, how about it? All right. So today is National Tweed Day. Don't know if it's a real holiday. Don't care. I heard somewhere we just love tweed. So we're going to celebrate Tweed today. So happy Tweed Day.
Happy Tweed Day, Rocky.
Yes, indeed. Yourself as well. And to you,
Sancho.
Marty. Happy Tweed Day.
Thanks.
All right. What questions do we have out there, Marty? Give me the, what are we doing?
First one up is from Objective Watch via Reddit. I've seen Mac working away on hat prototypes. I hope you will be introducing a new hat product on the show. And we also have number 2, which is Dr. Dave Hamilton on Facebook. When will you have the scally caps ready to order? And will they be standard sizes or made to order per head circumference?
Yes. So,
It's kind of housekeeping as much as a legit question. So.
pretty much. Yes. So, first thing I want to mention is we actually have, and the reason we ask the questions is because these are questions people are actually asking us. We're not just trying to do product placement, weird stuff, but it's what we end up doing anyway. So, Mac and I, on April 15th, mark your calendars, we're going to be doing an AMA in our Studio B. We have a brand new studio we're going to be doing it in. It's pretty cool. But we're going to be doing an AMA about the hats, the prototypes, the process, our challenges that we're running into, like where we're finding success, where we're having problems, all the different, money, all the money we have to spend to get all the machines to do the things about the stuff. So, join us on April 15th, and it's going to be literally an AMA, Ask Me Anything,
Ask
for those
Me
that don't know.
Anything.
Yeah. With me and Mac in Studio B, just talking hats. So to answer these questions kind of directly, we currently have 3, maybe doing 4, don't know, styles of cap. So first, we have the scally cap, which is what I have on. It's the style that I normally wear. We're going to have newsboy cap that Erica has on there. And bring in Marty there for a sec. We have Marty wearing our flat cap, which is flat panel. What I have on is a scally 8-panel kind of thing.
Hang on. What's going on with Marty's hat? There's something.
It's Marty being Marty.
What the? That's not.
Talk about
That's
the
not
tartan, Rocky.
tweed.
Oh.
That's not tweed.
That is not tweed.
There's
That
nothing
is
wrong with that.
tartan.
This is Marty.
Yeah. For those wondering, yes, we're going to be doing tartan flat caps, tartan panel. Hold on. So here we go. There's some other samples to show. This is show and tell time. So we're playing around with different ideas. So this here is the America 250 tartan. Oh yeah, forgot we got what tartans we're wearing. So today I have on the America's 250th tartan and America's 250th tartan hat. Bam, bam, fun. Eric.
This is the Peaky Blinders Memorial. Sorry, no, it's Scott Weathered.
Eric has on Scott Weathered. Yes. So scallop cap, flat cap in tartan. Or we could do any of these in tweed and tartan. We can do all kinds of different stuff. So there's going to be basically the sky's the limit. We have a lot of synapses firing in different directions.
That's for sure.
Yes, my life has been devolved into flat cap hell. But it's fun. It's launching new product. It's almost like launching a separate company almost.
It's definitely different.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of different cool stuff that we can do. The other guy asked about the sizes that we're going to do. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to do some stock supported stuff, and then we're also going to do fully custom stuff. So if you're we want people to be able to order. I want McDonald, Clanranald, ancient 11-ounce House of Edgar, 11-ounce Loch Heron cloth, and my head circumference is a 61. Boom, we can make a flat cap exactly to that person's measurements in their exact tartan, in that way, fully custom, as well as offering like, hey, I like this navy blue tweed. I want that in a size, 58. Great, boom, we can do that as well. Yeah. So, yeah, we're exploring all the possibilities and not counting anything out. The main things that we're trying to focus on are, one, producing it in America, not in China, not in not overseas,
right.
But actually making it here. Yeah,
right here
in the building. And two, using cloth woven in the UK. So whether it's Harris tweed or tweed from one of the mills that we already get stuff from, whether it's tartan cloth from Loch Heron, House of Edgar, Strathmore, Martin Mills, whoever, we're really, really, really focusing on quality stuff, quality fabrics, attention to detail in every single thing that we do. We're taking the mantra that we use in kilts and we're just bringing it into flat caps. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at with it.
But we definitely want feedback. This is definitely a case where there's not much point in doing this if the community isn't seriously interested in it. So please do tune in for the Ask Me Anything on the 15th. Let Rocky and Mac know what you think, what concerns you have, what other ideas you might have. We definitely want this to be supported by you guys.
Yep. And we're also going to be putting out we got to get this thing together. We're so far behind. We're going to be putting out a Google questionnaire, a full Google Doc, asking people price points, talking about what's your favorite styles of cap, talking about sizing issues, talking about what's the most important things to you in making a selection, blah 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 blah. So we're way too excited about hats at this point, but it's going to be good stuff. But yes, 100% what they said. We do want your feedback. We do want you guys involved in the process. We are very, very early. We have prototypes. That's it. We're waiting on the scaling of the second and third patterns that we're doing. So we don't even have all the parts yet. So right now we're just getting the ball rolling. So This is the time for feedback. Cool. All right, Mr. Marty.
Yeah.
What's the first non-product related question?
From YouTube, Barbecue Ice Cream asks, I'm hoping to wear a kilt for the first time at my local Highland Games later this year, and it's going to be quite hot out. I'm planning on a casual kilt, and I'll likely be wearing just a t-shirt with it. I've got a bit of a belly, and I'm wondering if I should go with the shirt untucked and just a sporran, or if I should tuck it in and add a belt, kilt belt, and buckle. I'd love your thoughts, and you guys rock.
Indeed.
Does that work with this outfit? Not quite.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I could do another gesture, but
yeah. To tuck or not to tuck? That is the question.
No, it isn't.
It's not even a question. You're right. Tuck your damn shirt in. I think we have a photo of an untucked shirt. It's not great. It covers up too much of the kilt. It looks a little disheveled-esque. I am 99.9% of the time tuck it in that camp.
Yeah. Even if you're very casual, definitely recommend it. I mean, if you're arriving early at the festival and you're going to be working as a roustabout doing labor or something like that, okay, fine. But when you're ready to look nice, please tuck in the shirt.
Here-
Now, I understand how it's a challenge, though, because if you've got a big belly and you're worried about accentuating that, you know, that could be something that might make people self-conscious.
The only minor asterisk I would have is kind of what you're alluding to if you're working, if you're doing something, and you're in like a utility kilt where there's no conventions necessarily associated with it. Then, okay, I'd begrudgingly maybe untuck, or if I'm hot and trying to air myself out and sweating a lot because I'm working.
Yeah.
So that all kind of put to the side a little bit. But you're right. If you have a big belly and you got the Dunlop disease where your tire, your spare tire Dunlopped over your belt, yeah, it can be a little bit difficult. But in that instance, I'd say wear the kilt up a little bit higher, and maybe wear sporin hangers to hang your sporin from the belt, so it hangs down a little bit flatter and nicer in the front. It cuts a nicer shape.
Yeah.
I don't think you can have a shirt untucked and not look with a kilt and not look sloppy.
Oh, totally. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Actually, hey, Jordan, could you find an image of sporn hangers real quick? I think that's a point which I hadn't necessarily thought of.
They're on our website. You can just pull up our site.
Yeah. Bring up. Oh, wow, look at that. That's a cool looking website. Hanger. Z.
There you go. This isn't taking too long at all.
It's got performance anxiety.
Yeah.
He's gotta be
Scroll
ready.
down. Scroll
gotta be
down.
ready.
There you go. Sporn hangers.
Okay, here we go.
Yep.
It's we're not the only ones who sell them, but ours are the best. No. Yeah, I think that is a really good piece of advice for if you have a belly issue. Don't worry about tucking the shirt in so much as how the kilt hangs. Sporn hangers are invented for that reason to a large extent because a chain can kind of bite in and it just makes poofs and stuff which you may not like. Sporn hangers are definitely your friend with that. I would also recommend maybe considering wearing an extra long cut shirt so you don't have to worry about it coming untucked if you're moving around a lot. I personally will advise against a printed t-shirt. I just don't like them. I'd rather, again, in the interest of the attention to the outfit going to the sporn and to the tartan, you're going to look more together in a t-shirt if it's not a printed design. I like Henleys for the same reason. A Henley shirt really looks good. That's basically minimize the shirt itself. Make it just kind of a blank thing that's just there.
So you're not a graphic tees guy
No.
with a kilt.
No. Honestly, I'm not very often in a regular life either.
That's fair.
I mean,
I wear a lot of solid black tees,
Yeah.
so I get that. But I still do enjoy the occasional Op Ivy shirt or insert band here.
A band shirt is something else. But
Yeah. Okay, Marty, what are people out on the interwebs saying? Are they agreeing with us or disagreeing with us?
Oh, they're all tuck it in, 100%. Jerseys untucked except baseball jerseys, but otherwise, yeah. There was Thomas Barrett over here. Let me see if I can find him again. Was talking about the Henleys and the sweaters and wearing that kind of thing, and you answered that in the
I like Henleys a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much in agreement here.
I mean, obviously, hockey jersey or something like that's going to be untucked, but that's the nature of that garment.
So yes. Well, short story, tuck it in. Very good. All right, Marty.
Up next is Joshua via email form. As I wear my kilt around to different places, I encounter people who seem genuinely curious and ask questions. On rare occasions, there are people who seem uncomfortable. What are your experiences with negative encounters? Why do you think some people are opposed to men wearing kilts? Is it due to culture, politics, or some other element?
So I would say for the most part, when I'm wearing a kilt out in the world, 98% of the time, it's positive or neutral interaction. There's not a whole lot of negativity. There are occasional times. Now, I often wear it around here, so people know there's a kilt shop in the area. I don't travel much. So people know that there's a kilt shop in the area, and they probably give us a pass a little bit for that. But there are times where I've worn it and gotten negative, on occasion, negative comments. I would generally say it's from a place of ignorance. So I've gotten negative comments in rural, very, very rural areas or very, very urban areas, like, downtown Philadelphia on South Street, on a Saturday night, or middle of nowhere, nothing for miles around except for, the Walmart or whatever. So it's not I don't think it's a political thing. I don't think it's a right versus left thing or anything like that. I think it's just an ignorance of the culture thing. If you're not of Scottish heritage, of Irish heritage, of Celtic heritage, broadly speaking, you're talking to people who don't know what they're looking at, don't understand what they're looking at. They just see person, man in skirt-like thing, and it breaks their brain. And if they're a jerk, they have to say something. So that's essentially where it is. But I think it all stems from ignorance.
Yeah, I think it's basically. I mean, I have encountered people who don't like kilts, and they are familiar with the fact that Scots and some Irish wear kilts. They just don't like it. It still flies in the face of a cultural paradigm they've inherited. Or they think, oh, you're not. You should be in Scotland if you're going to be wearing a kilt. This is America. I definitely think it's kind of it's partially a cognitive dissonance thing, and it's definitely a social paradigm. It's basically you are causing cognitive dissonance for them because their culture, their community is conforming around a different aesthetic, and you are outside of that aesthetic. And I mean, there could be politics, there could be religion, there could be other stuff involved, but those are all kind of like higher up here, and the consciousness of it is more down here, more like a tribalism thing. It's basically, you're different from me, you're different from us, therefore you make me feel uncomfortable, or therefore, in order to impress my peers, I want to mock you because it reinforces my sense of my identity with them. It throws me into good contrast against you, to say even more so that I'm with these cool guys here, haha, smart teenagers with our pants hanging down and our giant, fuzzy earrings, whatever the trend is. But I think it really is you like that? It wasn't funny.
Usually I'm further away from the mic, so I don't have to.
Not anymore, my friend. But you see what I mean? I think it's a tribal attitude. It's basically the human instinct to categorize things, which we do, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It is part of our wiring that our brains create categories and boxes for things because it's a survival instinct. It's how you know that this person right here is going to help you hunt, and that thing over there with the big teeth might eat you. It honestly goes that far back. So some people, it's tribal.
the way that I agree on. Period. The way I would kind of frame it, or try to frame it in my mind, and would encourage others to frame it as well when you run into somebody with a negative kind of thought on things, especially for somebody you don't know, is I would honestly feel pity on them. From an aspect of, where are they in their life? Where are they in their feelings, their emotions, their journey on this mortal coil, that they feel so bad that in order to feel better about themselves, they have to tear somebody else down, a stranger that they don't know. How sad is that when that is their method to feel better about something? I would rather put positivity out in the world. I'd rather be, hold the door for somebody, or say something nice to somebody, or randomly compliment a stranger and make their day a little bit better in hopes that they're going to pass it on and do the same kind of thing to other people, than be rude to somebody or dismissive or whatever just because I want to. I don't know. It makes me sad for them that that's where they're at in their life, that they think that's going to make them feel better.
It is about control. You will find people who feel like they can't control some aspect of their lives will like to mock other people because it gives them an illusion of power for a moment. Power being control over their environment. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I'm an armchair psychologist in this case, obviously, but I do think that's part of it, is that they do feel bad about themselves, or they feel out of control in some way, and, having that momentary feeling of power is self-medicating against that.
Yeah.
So now, but how much you engage with these people is really what it comes down to.
Yes.
Most of the time, it's not going to be worth your psychic energy.
Yep.
Just happy motoring. Bye.
Yep. Have the day you deserve, buddy.
Yeah,
and just
kinda.
keep going. Keep on keeping on. And that's, don't give them what they're looking for, because they're ultimately they're looking for a reaction. So just smile and nod. Have the day you deserve, pal, and keep going. And they're going to realize that they were insulted if you say that. Just keep going. Don't let someone else's insult become your bad day.
Right.
Like, what's that? Insults or anger is a gift you do not have to receive. Just because someone insults you or tries to put something on you doesn't mean you have to take it. You just stand there and, walk away. They are left with that anger, not you. Don't let it ruin your day. Just keep going.
Yeah. I think the same, it's a little bit like dealing with kilt lifters. It's kind of, a kilt lifter wants to get a reaction out of you a lot of the time too. Sometimes they think they have the best of intentions, but they're still crossing boundaries, either in the hope of flirting with you or in the hope of impressing their friends. Again, the whole, boosting themselves up with their peers for a second, and they're hoping you're going to react somehow. They really are. So control the situation.
I would say it's different because kilt lifters,
I think
in
it's
my
similar,
mind,
but
cross a line into a physical touch, a physical thing versus words. So that's where I would draw the difference between them. But
I'm saying they're kind of related. I'm not saying they're the same.
yeah, and or one is trying to be insulting and one is trying to be in on the joke with you. So I still parse them a bit, but I see where you're drawing your comparison from.
Sometimes the insulting people are envious, too.
It's true.
It makes them sad that you are doing something they don't have the guts to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
What's the line I used to use if somebody like jokes around about like, oh, hey, some guys need more room than others.
right.
Apparently you don't. And,
Yep.
and you just keep on and they're like, wait, what? So, cool. Hope that helps. Kind of, maybe. Probably didn't. But we said it anyway.
Illegitimate non-carborundum.
Exactly.
Gesundheit.
Mr. Marty.
People are very much in agreement with you with similar jokes, like what's under your kilt, my socks, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Angel Fish actually says, often I get the sense that non-kilt wearers worry about kilters going regimental.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even so, I don't think that's any of your business.
I have cartoon evidence of that. There was
Cartoon evidence.
Yeah, the Oatmeal, very popular
Yeah.
online cartoon. He did one about when he saw a guy in a kilt, all he could think about was the fact they were regimental. And he he found
Why are you that concerned about my undercarriage? Let it go.
It's enlightened them in some way.
It's off-putting in other ways. All right. So what do we got next?
Right. On next is G from the email form. What does the Ogilvie of Airlie tartan look like? Oh, I'm sorry. Why does that tartan look like it was designed by someone that may have licked a psychedelic toad? I didn't read that question beforehand.
So the Ogilvie of Airlie tartan is it's actually a very, very old tartan. It was 1816, I think, when we looked it up.
Yes.
So
it's like
it's
1816.
Yeah, it's an old official clan tartan. Bring that one up for me, Mr. Jordan. There we go. So that's a psychedelic toad right there. That's like the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus tartan.
It's even worse in ancient.
Oof. It's a spunky load of noodles. So it is also known as the Weaver's Nightmare. It's jokingly referred to as that because, bring it back up for a sec.
Weaver's Nightmare.
Every single change in color is a change in bobbin. So, you lay out the warp threads, which are the ones essentially horizontal on the screen there. And then for the vertical threads, that is the weft, every single time there's a color change, you have to change to a different bobbin on the loom. And when you're doing this all by hand, that's a lot of freaking changes. So it's AKA the Weaver's Nightmare. I would say that not many tartans are this intricate. Not many tartans are that intricate. That's putting it nicely. But because even most of the other tartans back in that time period, the 1820s, 1850s, are much more simple.
Yeah.
There are some more complex ones, but most of them are pretty simple. Contemporary designs, certain
They're all crazy go nuts.
exactly.
Do anything.
Some, Bob's your uncle. Like they're all over the place. So a lot of our designs are pretty intricate, not as box of crayons thrown on a floor look as that one. But there's a lot of thread changes, like for instance in the Appalachian folklore that we did, or things like that. So I'd say that there is a good version of that, but the massive amounts of color changes and bold colors, kind of it's something.
I think the why, from a psychosocial standpoint, is probably because the clan lord, the clan chief who wanted the tartan, wanted to be different. It's got to be. I mean, there must have been other. They didn't design things specifically for people as much back then. It's more likely he went to Wilson's or somebody and saw some stuff sitting there, or saw a sample book or whatever, and he was like, "That's okay. No, I want to stand out. I want that because it's gonna make Angus feel jealous or feel like a loser because his tartan is boring by comparison." I feel, there's some kind of a peacock factor with why that was chosen, I think, and I think that's still the case. People who like brighter colors, it's like the Loud McLeod fans. It's because you want to be in people's faces, and that's true throughout time. You always have people who are like that. So I think that's the emotional why. I did find it interesting when we looked it up that the description said at the time that the chief of the clan laid his seal upon it.
Yeah.
And I'd never heard that verbiage before, but to officially adopt it, to lay your seal upon something, I thought that was kind of cool sounding. But I remember when Appalachian folklore, it was actually too complex at first, and you had to get in there with Julian and Emma and say, hey, you got to
tone it down.
This is too complicated for the weavers to manage. So
gear down, big shifter.
Yeah.
Well, the set size was too big and very complex. And we had one. Here's where the rubber meets the road on it. Specifically with Appalachian folklore, there was that one run where the mill screwed it up because the color, A, there are so many color changes, B, so many colors are very, very similar, very close to each other, that the mill, in warping it up, actually screwed up one of the color sequences. So we called it Oopsalachian, and sold it off for a little bit of a discount. But, it does create challenges having that many changeovers and that many colors that close together in those type designs or in the Ogilvie of Airlie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but would you rather wear Ogilvie or Shepherd check? Or McGregor?
The Rob Roy McGregor?
Yeah. Buffalo check.
Yeah.
Too complicated or too simple?
Yeah. No, there's a middle ground.
No, you have to choose one. You have to choose one.
I reject the premise of your question.
You're not fun.
No, I frankly, I would probably do Ogilvie if I had to do one of those. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, in fairness to Shepherd's check, it is a repeat of like not even an inch. So it's a very, very like TV staticky test pattern kind of look to it.
So, Jordan, could you find us an image of Shepherd check? Don't put it on the screen until you find it.
Oh, he's got it here.
Okay.
He's
fire torpedoes.
And the site is. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
Good job, Marty. There you go.
Guys.
That's Shepherd's check.
Blow it up. Blow it up. Can you get bigger?
Can he blow it up?
Open
Hit Alt and then Alt and scroll button or scroll on your mouse.
Control.
Hold down or Control and scroll. There you go.
And now go back and forth.
Our viewership
losing
has dropped
viewers
by 80%.
by the second. So,
Mac and the other kilt makers, I've never heard them complain about Ogilvie. I'm sure they do, but I definitely hear them complain about this every time an order comes in. It will make you go blind.
They've got to stare at it for 8 hours or whatever it is.
It's like one of those hidden picture puzzles.
Man.
Yeah.
It's
rough.
It's rough.
I see it for 12 seconds on TikTok Live, and I'm upset.
Very good. All right. So, Mr. Marty, any comments from the audience on the Ogilvie, or shall we move on?
I'll read off them in order. Steven Schrader said, "Leave that up. Where's my drugs?" David Kenny said, "Ouch, my eyes." Kevin said, "Will it scan as a code?" And me and Tree RV said, "Wife just said it looks like grape jam." So those are the reviews.
Okay. Grape jam.
I think your jam might be going off.
Yeah, don't eat that. Ian Ferguson said that one still looks better than Macmillan, which I don't know by name.
Okay. The Macmillan. Yeah, Macmillan.
Yeah.
Macmillan old. Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah.
Cook's pants.
Cook?
Shepherd check looks like chef's
Oh,
pants.
chef's pants.
Oh,
Got it.
chef's
Yeah,
pants.
shepherd's check. Absolutely, yes.
There we go.
Shepherd check.
Indeed. All right, next question, Mr. Marty.
On to the next question. This is from Andy Keeley via Facebook. What's the best time of year to wear a kilt? SpongeBob reference here.
Silly question.
What's the best time to wear a kilt? I reject the premise of your question, sir. The best time to wear a kilt is today. And whatever day it is. Any day that ends in Y, one of those things. I would say, I'll give you a practical answer and a more broad answer. So the best time of year in my mind to wear a kilt would be spring and fall.
Yeah. Yep.
Wool fabric, 18 or 16 ounce, 8-yard wool kilt would be great in cooler days. So spring or fall are my ideals. That said, you can wear it year round. I do.
Yeah. Totally.
The kilt is probably the most versatile garment that you will own, period. It is a proper made 8-yard wool kilt can be worn very, very casually as well as very, very formal. There's no, if you were wearing tuxedo pants to change the oil in your car or to mow the lawn or to run errands, you would look odd. If you're wearing a pair of ripped jeans to a formal dinner, you would look odd. In a kilt, you can hit both ends of that spectrum. You can do the most formal as well as the most casual events or circumstances, whatever, modes of dress in an 8-yard wool kilt, in a 5-yard wool kilt, in a nice looking kilt. So the kilt is by far the most versatile piece of clothing, piece of kit that there is in the world.
Yeah.
I challenge anyone, and let me know in the comments, is there anything you can think of that is as versatile as a kilt?
Flat caps.
No, because I wouldn't wear this formal.
Converse All-Stars.
That's a tough one. I hate Converse All-Stars. They hurt my feet.
I've never been a Chuck Taylor fan.
Yeah.
But even
All
back,
right.
Yeah. What?
Sorry. Continue. I was going to say your thoughts, but I didn't realize you were still
No, it's
speaking.
true. I mean, I'm fond of saying, and I've written this a few times, that basically this is why Highland dress is the most popular, most successful, in my opinion, and freshest, most creative national dress
Cultural
in the
dress,
world.
yeah.
Cultural dress. I mean, because it was not invented soup to nuts as a uniform the way other national dress was, especially in the 19th century. That's when in 18th and 19th century is when you see countries starting to care about having some kind of national costume. Kilts go with so many different other garments. They're absolutely the most flexible garment in the world, like you said. What was the other point I was going to make, Rocky?
I have another point if you want to think about it.
I'll think about it. Why don't
Very
you
good.
go ahead with your point?
Please. This is a very, very obscure reference, and if you are a New York hardcore fan, you will get this. There's a band called H2O, and there was a line on one of the albums when they were doing a spoken part before a song or whatever, talking about hardcore music versus grunge music. Grunge music was a style of music from a place in a moment in time. Like Seattle, early 90s, it was the perfect, petri dish for grunge music, but that's where it was, and that's almost like where it was perfected. Versus hardcore is all over. Now, I'm applying that to this and saying, everyone else, every other national mode of dress almost feels like a thing stuck in a moment in time for a national dress, a cultural dress.
Yeah.
Where the Scots, where kilts, where Highland dress feels like it has evolved. It's gone past. It doesn't feel like if you're wearing a kilt, you are automatically from 1745, or you're automatically from 1820, or you're automatically from 1926. There is no precise moment that it always points to. It's evolved over time, and it is still fresh today.
Or more to the point, in my mind, other national dress, you tend to only look in place a lot of the time in like a parade setting, a performance setting.
Or a wedding. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a performance setting.
Yeah.
Whereas a kilt you could wear as we've said, basically every day, and it's just as valid regardless of context. I think Japanese traditional clothing comes very close, if not similar level.
Okay.
But again, they have the similar attitude about it. They don't mind updating it in some ways. As for the seasons, I do think that it's definitely a spring and fall thing, simply because not the kilt, but the other layers you want to play with. Winter is fine, but summer, it's hot. It is more fun to play around with the layers and stuff when you're in a temperature zone, a weather zone, which is a little more similar to the country in which this stuff was developed. So a damp season, especially the fall, just feels right because the tweeds are just that much more comfortable that time of year. They blend. They tend to be a little bit more on the earthy side, so they blend with fall foliage better. Highland dress in general just feels to me like a lot of time a fall thing, and also that's when you have more holidays. I mean, between just general turning of the seasons to St. Andrew's Day and then Christmas. I mean, that arc right there is like a perfect time, and then you have a lot of festivals in the early part of the fall, like our very own beloved Celtic Classic. So I think that's probably, if people don't think about it too hard, they will say fall. But anytime is a good time.
Yeah, gun to the head, fall's probably the perfect peak kilt wearing season.
I'd say for dressing up in Highland dress in general.
Yes, but
with all the soup to nuts.
Agreed. But if you throw on a performance polo and a pair of lighter weight kilt hose or a pair of cotton crew socks and boots or whatever,
right.
It's still fine for summer. And if you're in the winter and you throw on a sweater and a pair of thicker wool hose and you have layers on,
right?
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
indeed. All right. Marty, what were the audience people's reacting?
The peoples.
They pretty much agree with you. The one guy says a few weeks in winter it might be too cold, but other than that you're pretty much good to go when he comes to when he's in Texas. Everyone else is pretty much always good to go.
What, you weak down in Texas? A few weeks in the winter or two.
You want to start a problem with Texas?
Really? Psh, I'll start a problem with everybody.
Okay.
We're from Philly. We do this. This is how we do. We live in the Northeast, dude. Like Alaska has us beat for weather, but no.
It's gonna pose like this.
Oh no, it's too cold for me. 2 weeks during the winter. Get out of here.
And then before we get attacked by Texas,
if I don't want my my dangly bits to be frostbitten, that's fine. You are not going to have that issue in Texas. Man up, wear the damn kilt. Marty, next.
And the 10-gallon.
And the 10-gallon. No, don't wear a 10-gallon hat with it. No.
Windy days are the other bad day. In case Maryland.
That happens less often than you might think.
I would also say, but for windy days, just wear freaking underwear and be cognizant of wind gusts. When you have a sporran on, realistically, the front is not going to be the problem on a windy day. It might be the back.
It's the back.
So somebody sees your butt in your underwear. Oh no, it's the end of the world. Who cares? Yeah. If you have the guts enough to wear a kilt, it doesn't matter if someone inadvertently passing, because there's a gust of wind, and I'm going to keep doing this like I'm throwing my hair back. It doesn't matter if someone is going to see your underwear for a split second because a gust of wind came. You're not going to get arrested. It's fine. Just wear a pair of freaking underwear.
There you go.
Watch out for women with leaf blowers.
Fair.
Not the Dragon Con thing.
Yes, I've heard.
Yeah. Although they never actually expose anybody. There's an art form to leaf blowing the kilts when they do that. They do not expose anybody.
Art form. It's very high art.
Serious. Yeah.
Very high art. Yes. Indeed. You have to go to master's degree level of leaf blowing. Yes.
Probably.
Indeed. Mm-hmm. All right, Mr. Marty.
Okay. From William Holmes via email form. Eric, you specifically. I know you enjoy Renaissance fairs, as to some extent do I. I sense he has some grievances. However, I sometimes find myself frustrated by seeing people in costumes at clan gatherings and Highland Games. Costumes which are not significantly related to Scottish traditions, or at worst, seem like silly fictionizations. This can feel a bit like mockery to me. What are your thoughts as one of the many folks who have a foot in both realms?
You don't know me half as well as you think you do, boy. I haven't actually been to a Ren Fair in about 30 years.
Dun, dun, dun.
I am not a Ren Fair person. I know. I mean, I have plenty of friends who are into that. I've had friends who want to get me out to one again just because it'd be a social outing with them. And I'll probably do it this year, honestly. Yes, Micah, I'm talking to you. But I am not a Ren Fair person. I was a living history person. And I was in the SCA, which is not strict living history, but it does have this idea that you should kind of look like the time period that you're representing with the thing you're doing, as opposed to looking like a freaking elf.
Why did you turn into an old Jewish man?
Because I was trying to go for Joyzy, but...
Oh, okay, fair. There's a lot of old Jewish men in Jersey, apparently.
I was trying to go for more for like my cousin Vinny kind of a vibe.
Ah, got it.
It's either The Sopranos or
Yes.
not.
Yes. Okay.
Am I a Ren rat to you? Do I make you want to go tra-la-la?
I can't do Joe Pesci without cursing.
Go get your shine box.
In all seriousness,
Renaissance boy.
I understand where he's coming from, because basically Renaissance fairs actually, back when they started, which is like the 1960s in California, the very first one was extremely historically accurate, to the point where the only sideshow stuff you had was people demonstrating Renaissance era skills. Like, you could see somebody weaving, you could see somebody blacksmithing, they would have baking demonstrations, all that. Over the decades, as it caught on as a business model and an entertainment as opposed to a community project, which it originally was, it's gotten more and more loose, to the point where now it is Ren fairs are very much fantasy, except in sometimes, if not, I guess most of the time, the core players.
The actors must be, yeah.
No, not all the actors. Plenty of actors are fantastical also.
Okay.
And you got a lot of Captain Jack Sparrows out there kind of guys. But usually whoever's playing Queen Elizabeth and her courtiers, they will look very accurate. Not seriously accurate from a historical costuming standpoint, but at the very least, some of them are good, but from a theatrical costuming standpoint, right? And the knights, a lot of time, the jousters will look okay, but they're like the hub of the wheel, and around them are all these different zones. Like, you go to the fair now, it's like your kids can go blow bubbles with a fairy over here. You can do a semi-authentic blacksmithing demo over here, but you can go to a stage here and see some guy whipping a cigarette out from between some girl's boobs with a bullwhip, because entertainment, and we're all ribald, jolly, randy, sexy medieval people, haha.
Yep. And then there's the pirate ship.
And there's the pirate ship, and then you have my friends going around in Star Trek uniforms. So what happens when you take people who have outfits for Ren Fair and wear them to a Highland Games? I agree. I think it could feel really tawdry, for lack of a better term. Costumey, yeah. I mean, caricaturish. I do know there are some people who go to Ren Fairs in stuff they normally use for living history, and they stand out because they're more
they're good. Yeah.
Other people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what do you think? Is it okay in the sense that this is supposed to be a festive event? It's supposed to be fun, so they're showing their joy, or is it on some level disrespectful of the core of a Highland Games or Celtic gathering?
Hold on.
I need answers, sir.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
We're gonna go viral, everyone.
Here's where he sinks the company. I tend to agree with you. I think that I'm happy to hear that I didn't know the history of Ren Fairs, so to speak.
We actually did a video on it a few years ago.
I probably didn't watch it. I'm happy to hear that it started off more historical. I'm saddened in a way. I have this much of an inner history nerd. I'm saddened from that part of my core being to know that it has gone away from the history angle and more towards fantastical. Now, from a capitalist perspective, if that's what the people want, that's what the people get, and that's kind of the road that it took. I think there's a lot more room and accepting of that in those audiences. And don't get me wrong, I understand the impetus, the reason, like the drive to want to wear that stuff to more events. If you think it is, you bought it, so you obviously think it's fun. You like the thing. You want to wear it to more things because you spent a lot of money on the thing. And this is an event, or that's an event, or there's an event where people are wearing different things other than just normal today contemporary clothing. So I won't stand out as much, and people will accept me for wearing this weirdy kind of thing that I want to wear. Fantastical, not weird. Sorry. So I get the reason why you want to wear it. the reason I don't like it as much for Celtic festivals specifically is because you're trying to be a sincere student of the culture for a particular culture. You're there, a lot of people are there to experience that particular culture, to experience that particular music, that particular food, those particular, dancers and things like that, bagpipe bands, whatever it is. They don't want to see, the guy with the Crusades outfit on, or they don't want to see Braveheart blue face paint that's not historically accurate. They don't want to see those things. They're there to learn and get the real experience, or as close to it as they can, not in Scotland, not in Ireland, here in America. So by doing that, you're almost doing a disservice to the other people there, because if you have young kids, they're going to be like, oh, well, that guy has his fairy costume on. I guess it's part of this culture. I guess that must be correct because I see this thing here at this event. And it's kind of mixing fantasy and history, or fantasy and culture together in a way I don't necessarily like.
I think that a little spice is okay because it is a festival atmosphere, but I think it has to be just a tiny bit. Like if you have like boots, I will forgive Ren Fair style boots, like Turtle Island moccasins kind of thing, or Son of Sandler, one of the big fancy boot sellers who does the medieval-esque. Sure, fine, okay. I think that's okay for festival garb. I think a Highland dress shirt or a Highland shirt, a Jacobite shirt. Yeah, that is kind of the context in which those things are meant to be worn.
But is it a slippery slope?
It can be a slippery slope, and you can't arbitrate people's taste.
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever going to. I don't think Highland Games or Celtic festivals are going to reach a point where, like the Ren Fair, they devolve to that point where people treat it like a street fair. I don't think that's going to happen.
I hope not.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. It's the American way to put our own stamp on it. So I hope it doesn't devolve into that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that in a good way, for the record. It's our way to kind of mix things together, and I want this thing to kind of be its own thing in the same way. If I'm going to a German festival, I want to see German stuff. Mm-hmm. I would also say it's almost, my guess is, or my thought is, it's pretty much up to the festivals themselves. Mm-hmm. So like when we go to Celtic Classic, I know there was a period under previous, not ownership, but previous, director, 20 years ago, where they were allowing in like window wizards and bath fitters and other vendors to their event, or other things to their event that had nothing to do with Celtic culture. So it started watering it down. And once you reach 15, 20, 30, 40% of the vendors being completely like having nothing to do with it, it feels weird and out of place and different. Another good example. There's a Polish festival called Częstochowa over at the one church over near Doylestown.
Yeah,
and
the shrine.
Yes, the Shrine of Częstochowa.
Yeah.
And they have, I would say, they have carnival games, like carnival rides at the event, mm-hmm. and they have 30 vendors, 20 vendors, and half or more are not Polish vendors. I'm going there for Polish beer, pierogies, and brats. Like, I'm not going there for window wizards or, like California closets or things like that. I don't care about that. I want to be immersed in the thing that I am there to see. Okay, I don't like that festival. There's some dancing, there's some food, there's some good stuff, but then there's like the obvious like tourist trap kind of area that doesn't feel real.
All right. How about if somebody is wearing 18th century accurate Highland dress, like a Jacobite? Is that acceptable?
I would kind of feel fine with that because it's going towards living history type stuff. Uh-huh. It's going towards sincere student of the culture. It's going towards education. It's going towards reality, not fantasy, whifty-farkle, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want.
How about Civil War reenactors?
At a Celtic event?
Mm-hmm.
Are they reenacting the Fighting 69th?
Usually.
Then okay, fine. And
But
a lot of these events...
I've also seen World War I reenactors. I've seen Irish Republican Army.
Yes?
Not IRA, but the Republic of Ireland Army. But,
Yes, but there's... your examples that I am aware of are coming from Celtic Classic, where they did the Fighting 69th little encampment thing, and they had a living history experience, and you can walk through, and they would talk to you,
right?
Like as docents, essentially, at a museum.
That's what they do.
The dude that does the Irish IRA military uniform, likes talking to people about this stuff. So he's a amateur historian or real historian. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a living history person.
Yeah, nice guy.
He knows his stuff.
Exactly, but that's the point, is talking to those people. And when you ask someone, hey, why are you wearing that? If their answer is, because this is an accurate representation of a Jacobite Highlander from 1745 rebellion, great, tell me more. If your answer is, because I saw it in Braveheart and I thought the blue face paint looked good with this tartan, then no.
Then why are you okay with people who are selling resin dragon-shaped incense burners and
did I say I was
pagan
okay with
stuff? And I mean,
there's a
whiskey stones and
Whiskey-
t-shirts that have like Viking World Tour on them. I mean,
there's a softening of it, and there's a gray area.
There is there? Okay.
Is the dragon the national or not national animal? It's on the Welsh flag, so you can there's a reasonable there's some reasonable plausible deniability.
Rationalizable.
Yes, rationalizable.
Rationalize
yes.
it.
Indeed, there's a gray area. Yes, I would rather have more authentic stuff at a festival than I am at. But it's not going to get my hackles fully up for certain things. For others, I don't know.
What about in the kids area? Is it okay to have a fairy blowing bubbles or a juggler? If
he's dressed as a court jester,
kids?
Esque. Yes, it's.
Here's the thing. I think you reach a point where it's either very focused on a certain thing, like a Highland Games is about the athletics, and you decide that's it, and maybe band performances, or it's a festival like Celtic Classic, and then you're always going to have a certain degree of street performers, and wandering, traveling merchants who go to a Celtic festival this weekend, go to a Ren Fair next weekend, go to a community craft fair next weekend, and they're selling t-shirts all the time. You're always going to have, it because it's a street fair. So
there's always a balance.
I think that's what we're coming down to. Is there should be a balance.
There's always reality of capitalism. There's reality of the festival has to make money and has to fill up their vendor spots. So the vendors, they're trying to get as many in who are authentic as possible. Those vendors also have to make money to be able to come back the next year. So they have to sell things that people actually want to buy. So if people want to buy Welsh Dragon incense burners, great, I guess we're selling Welsh Dragon incense burners. So there's a whole ecosystem around this stuff. It's the question is the broader strokes. Does it lean more traditional or does it lean more fantasy? Marty, what are people out there on the interwebs saying here?
Largely, you're right. It's balance. It depends on the context. Depends on the type of festival you're at. If you're explicitly at a Highland Games / Celtic Classic kind of thing, having like Master Chief from Halo walk by would be a little weird. Whereas at a Renaissance fair, where it's more,
where would it not be weird?
Renaissance fair. But that's kind of the thing there. There was kind of an adjacent question that we had here.
Okay.
Clamper, 1827, said, my 13-year-old grandson is going to spend the summer with us and asked for a kilt. What are your recommendations for places to take him to experience his heritage where we can both wear our kilts?
And honestly, a Ren Fair would be an example where you kind of could. Anywhere.
Especially if it's a Celtic weekend. So sometimes Ren Fairs have like a Celtic-themed weekend. So there. Any Highland Games, any Irish festival, any Celtic festival, broadly speaking, I would take them to an Irish pub restaurant. especially if it's like a really good, authentic one. We have Molly McGuire's here in Phoenixville. There's a lot of, there are some, college bar with Irish decorations level of Irish pubs, and then there's some that are actually, pretty authentic. So I would say take him to any of those types of events to kind of steep him in the culture a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's that, and also just let him realize that, like we always say, there's no bad time to wear the kilt. So just do whatever you're normally going to do. Just both of you wear a kilt. I think historic sites, museums. That's my bias, obviously. Yeah.
I have one more.
As long as he has fun with it.
If there is a either trad or like a rock kind of Irish band that happens to be in the area, I would take him to a concert. I would take him to a show. I would take him to see and experience the music because it's another part of the culture that really sinks in and imprints on kids' brains. Like everybody loves music.
So is people dressing up as mermaids. They had Marrow and Kelpies and people in Celtic mythology.
Right.
Do you want to see what I have made you look like if you were in a Renaissance Fair outfit?
Oh, heavens. Oh, my. Why is my head so small?
Because my Photoshop skills are okay, but they're not great.
So
at least it's Photoshop, not AI, my dude.
That's fair. That's fair.
So you are a kilted pirate.
I'm surprised. Did someone stick something under my kilt?
Yeah.
Woo!
And I'm just kind of like your generic Lord of the Manor guy.
Fair.
Alcoholic.
Fair.
Yes. No. I'm serving my friends.
Oh, okay. Those aren't all for you.
But
The
here's
gold and
here's
silver.
here's the thing. If you're going to go to a Ren Fair, I think the point is Ren Fairs are their own thing. They are their own culture. And another reason why a lot of people like to go to them is because they are supportive usually of people who swim through various subcultures. Okay, Ren Fairs tend to be, because they're a dress-up event in a fantasy world, they tend to be more open and supportive of people who are not mainstream people. So there is that, and I know from my college days, just Ren Fair is its own tribe of its own. It is its own community of its own.
And for the record, I want to just point something out. This is not us bashing on Ren Fairs.
No, not at all.
And like a lot of our customers enjoy the Ren Fair and have at it. What we're saying is like there's different strokes for different folks and or different horses for different courses. So if I'm going to a Ren Fair, I would dress a particular way. If I'm going to a Celtic festival, I would dress a different way.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I think I would not put on that outfit that I obviously own in that photograph for going to a Highland Games. But here's the thing that gets me.
My ears are big too. This is very off-putting.
Your ears are big. I did this on a time constraint.
Not enough chest hair.
Okay. Careful what you wish for.
Photorealistic, baby.
My point is, I think that if you're going to do something historical, try not to mix your metaphors. I wouldn't do that going to a Ren Fair myself personally anyway. But if I was going to a Highland Fair, but I wanted to wear something more fun, okay, but try to keep it simple. You know, you know, try to not mix your metaphors. Do not be a kilted pirate. Leave the Elizabethan doublet at home. You know.
Yeah, when you mix too many things, it looks like a dog's dinner. Like it.
Yeah.
It always when you do something and do it well and do it, precise and exact, it looks best. When you try it, like, ooh, I have this, tricorn hat from when I was a colonial reenactor, and I have this French doublet, and I have these riding boots from the colonial war, and I have this,
Outlander.
Yeah, when you want to mix all the things because you own the pieces, they don't necessarily go great together, or it looks like a dog's dinner. I would rather do the one thing, do it precisely, and do it well, than go too crazy,
or at least just keep it simple.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I mean, a mug holder, a Renaissance or a meg holder is a great idea for any event, frankly.
Sometimes, and the simpler you keep it, sometimes there is some latitude, some crossover ability with one thing to another thing. Flat caps are not, or scallop caps are not specifically Highland wear, but it's pretty damn simple. It's headwear, and it works with a kilt, so we wear it with a kilt. But it's not explicitly for that particular thing.
Although there is, I said this in an article we just published on this, that there are flat caps or flat cap adjacent hats that were worn for deer stalking, and to this day are, and by gillies working up in the Highlands. So I would argue that it is close enough to the most traditional of Highland dress that you could consider a flat cap more this style than your style based on. But anyway, now we're tangentizing.
Yes,
so.
Indeed. I hope that helps. Marty, what do we have for the interwebs for people? Or for questions or something? I don't know.
Well, people are, kind of expressing how they go dressed. One guy said, Time Lord Council said, I tend to wear my great kilt and Jacobite shirts for Ren Fairs and not much else.
But a great kilt and a Jacobite shirt.
Yeah.
I don't think that's so bad.
No, and
honestly.
frankly, you can, like, any of this stuff, fantastical or not, wearing it out for, like, general daily wear to the grocery store, if you want to, stick out and get the attention and have fun with it and just be, that guy, have at it. There's nothing wrong with that, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I because you're not in a particular cultural setting. You're in, everyday culture.
But I would leave you leave the obvious
Spockiers at
fantasy
home.
things, like the elf ears or the armor pieces. You don't need your hand worked leather pauldrons.
Oh, I don't know.
For going to the grocery store.
Today, you might get,
Aldi's getting expensive.
It is.
I would wear
yeah.
pauldron.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, next question.
Yeah.
Next question is from Nivik via email form. Other than you, have the Norse had any influence on kilts or tartan?
You specifically.
Yeah, you.
Me?
Yeah, you.
You've had an extreme impact.
Am I a Viking to you? Do I make you
Mr.
want to
Norseman?
raid places?
Speak on behalf of all Nordic people.
Okay. All right. I can do that. I actually had notes I wrote down for this, and I left them in the other room. So, fair disclosure. But here's the thing. It's not just about me. Not
Not at all about you.
No, not at all. I mean, and are you talking about a historic influence, or are you talking about a modern influence? Because the modern influence is obvious. You have people who are of mixed ancestry, as we've said many times, and they want to enjoy celebrating their Nordic side as well. You have a certain popularity right now for the aesthetics and the warrior culture vibe of the Norsemen. So accessories like, Thor's hammer and, Viking dragons and stuff like that are popular just because right now people think they're cool. So, fine. And we did the Nordic Heritage tartan because of that whole, I want to show that I am Scottish. Hey, look at that. Hey,
Johnny on the spot.
I'm Scottish, but I'm also very proud of my Nordic ancestry. Historically, there were a number of clans who actually go back to well-documented Viking roots. Like MacDonald is one,
Gun.
MacLeod is one,
MacDougall, I
Gun,
think, was one.
MacIver, which goes back to
Ivor the Boneless? No.
son of Ingvar,
Okay.
basically. And there's another one, Maxine.
Okay.
Maxine, it goes back to Sven.
Okay.
Sheen was originally from Sven, Nordic name. And the Vikings, Norse people, ruled a significant part of Scotland and the outer islands and Ireland for 300 years. There's a supposition that basically one of the reasons that the Pictish language died out was because Nordic settlers kind of pushed it into extinction because they weren't interacting with anybody else. They needed to speak the language of the people they were trading with. This is before the Scots really made their influence. I mean, I did have a map image, which is not entirely perfect, but if you imagine, on this map they basically show the Scots or Scotti and Norse mixed in those areas, and the Gaels. It was a bit more Norse than it was Scots for a long time, honestly. This is showing genetic diversity versus politics. I didn't find a convenient image for showing politics over a period of 300 years. So yeah, that's why there's there is that. Scotland has always been a bit of a melting pot, at least going back to the Dark Ages. So, yeah. Did the Vikings influence the kilt? We do get supposition. We get speculations about this because the word kilt is derived from the Old Norse kielti, which basically means to wrap around, to pleat. But there is no evidence that the Vikings were wearing kilts. It just means that that word had made its way into the language of hegemony in the country, and people started using that word to describe it when they were wrapping stuff around themselves. There is one Viking king, Magnus III, who his byname, one of his bynames was Magnus the Barefoot, because
barefoot or bare-legged.
They're bare-legged.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's 3 different theories as to why he got that name, but the most prominent one is that because he started dressing in the manner of the
people that
of the Gaels. So he was wearing. He was not wearing pants. Okay, he was wearing a long tunic but no pants the way the locals did. He just liked it for whatever reason. He adopted that. Mind you, we're talking about tunics. We're not talking about kilts. We're just talking about not wearing, leggings or trews.
So here's the question. And now, recognizing that the Norse art and Celtic knotwork and Gallic art and even Pictish to some degree feels to me very similar. Did one influence the other? Did one come
Absolutely.
first?
I always get this a little mixed up, but basically Celtic knotwork, if you look at the continent, goes way back.
Okay.
So I believe for the most part, the thinking is that Celtic Germanic art was from a similar root and evolved differently in Scandinavia than it did once it got to the British Isles. Mm-hmm. And they did influence each other back and forth once, later on. And I'm talking like hundreds of years later when the Vikings came. But I forget what the exact thinking is because there's like 3 or 4 different specific styles of Celtic or Viking knotwork and runestone design. And some of them are older, some of them are newer, some of them are more Eastern. But I always get that stuff confused because it's a lot, and I have a very small brain.
Yeah.
But but they influence other things like the boats that were used in the islands around the Hebrides and the Orkneys and Isle of Man. They're all based on Viking ships. They're just scaled down. But for hundreds of years through the medieval period, the common boats used to go back and forth between Ireland and Scotland were basically Viking ships, just built a little smaller.
Yeah. There's a lot of blending of cultures and like evolution of things over time. So it's not a clear, cut, dry, this is how the thing, this is the starting point and this is what happened. It's very much a just kind of, meshing of things.
In terms of tartan, there is no direct evidence that the Vikings wore tartan. Or that they influenced tartan as an art form. That is pretty much all a Celtic Gaelic thing. I guess there's some speculation that the Vikings introduced different dyes. I'm not sure about that one either, though.
Yeah, through trade routes, maybe.
Definitely, but if it was anything, it would have been a trade thing.
Yeah,
that's basically what it was about. It was beyond the military stuff. It was about trade goods,
right?
And that. With the continent because of it.
Cool.
But yeah, so there is an influence for sure.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Marty, what are people saying out there on the interwebs?
As far as the Vikings go, it's relatively quiet. In fact, David Morley just posted a single dot, a period, which seems to be his thoughts on the subject. However, we did have a question from a little while.
I'm boring. I'm sorry.
A question from a little while earlier from Ginger with a top hat. The question was, I lost 45 pounds over the last year and no longer fit into my kilts. Alterations are out, as I have lost too much. Any tips on reselling those kilts?
Yes. That's the correct answer. When you lose too much weight, just sell the damn thing and recoup some of your money, put it towards a new kilt.
eBay?
eBay, Facebook Marketplace, look at Facebook groups in general. There's a reasonable secondhand market for kilts that, broadly speaking, you can probably recoup about half of what you put into your kilt. So if it was a $500 kilt, or then you could probably get $250. If it's a $1,000 kilt, you can probably get $500, roughly speaking, assuming it's not too beat up. Mr. Marty.
To clarify, David said he's working. He accidentally hit the keyboard. He didn't mean to send just a period. Sorry, David.
We won't tell your boss, David.
Nobody cares about the Vikings. Aw.
Well, the duck is out. So.
On to the next question, then. A few people have asked about PV tartans. Jeff Plavier, via email forum, were any decisions made from the survey posted on the KNC Facebook group, plug, asking which tartan folks would like to see in PV. Rob Gig, via email form, we were wondering if any of the new PV kilts, if there were any new PV kilts in the works. Music box system from Reddit. Will America's 250th tartan, or others from the collection besides Spark and Blue Collar, be coming to PV? Lots of PV questions.
Lots of PV questions.
Coming to a PV near you.
Indeed. We put out a poll on our Facebook group, the Kilts and Culture Facebook group. If you are not in the Kilts and Culture Facebook group, there you go, right there, bam. Well done, Jordan.
Look at that.
Indeed, Johnny on the spot. So yes, we put out a poll basically saying what tartans would you want to see in PV? Here are the financial and the fun bits. Hey, I want to see everything in PV. If it was up to me, I would make Martin Mills do it all. I would do this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, that one. Reality, they're not going to do it. They're going to make me pay for it. Since I have to pay for it, we are going to be much more selective and make sure that we can sell the damn thing. So we did a poll on our Facebook group. The Back to Nature was up there. Nordic Heritage Weathered was up there. There was a couple other ones. So since Jordan put Back to Nature on screen, I guess we have to freaking do it now. Good job, Jordan. So this is the official, unofficial kind of announcement. Yep, we're going to be doing the Back to Nature tartan in PV. Watch this space. We have it on order right now. I asked the mill on yesterday what our time frame was to get the cloth in stock, and they're off for Easter break, so they didn't respond.
What is this American worker tartan you speak of that's available in PV? What does that look like?
We don't have an American worker. That is the blue collar tartan. Who said blue collar?
You said blue collar. I said American worker because that was the original title.
Yes, indeed. So that is the blue collar tartan. That one's available in PV right now. Yep. We also have the Spark tartan.
Yep.
There you go.
Yep.
You should have put it on screen first so I could have figured out what the hell tartan was because it left my brain. But so those two are currently available in PV, and the Back to Nature tartan is going to be available in PV in a kilt shop named usakilts.com near you.
Now, do we have an image of Nordic Heritage Weathered?
No, we do not.
Oh,
because
okay.
I'm still toying around with, hey, do we want to do that one? Okay. Basically, here's the curtain being pulled back. We have a lot of freaking custom tartans in PV, and not all of them sell as well as others. So we've been selling through our Sterling Color collection. Mm-hmm. We've discontinued them, or are discontinuing them, to make room for some others, i.e. Back to Nature and potentially Nordic Heritage. So watch this space. It should be good time. Happy, fun, good times. Mr. Marty.
Sort of related question. KJ Long 77 on YouTube is asking, I have only purchased and worn 8-yard 16-ounce kilts. Now I am looking at an 8-yard 13-ounce wool tartan material for a kilt. How will it compare to the 16-ounce kilt?
It'll be 3 ounces lighter per yard double width.
Good night, everybody.
Exactly.
Thank you. Good night. It's going to be a little bit lighter. 16 ounces heavyweight, 13 ounces medium weight. The way you determine the weight of the cloth, or how they're doing it, there's actually a bunch of, there's no standard. There's different, there's GSM, GLM, there's ounces. So grams per square meter, grams per linear meter, grams per, or then there's ounces per yard, are 3 different yet similar ways to do it. So GSM, grams per square meter. Take a meter of cloth, 1 meter this way, 1 meter this way, cut it, weigh it. That is a particular weight. 300 grams per meter squared. Then there's grams per linear meter, which is, across the bottom, 1 meter, double width, or whatever the width of the cloth is, and that is the weight there. Ounces So when we're talking, generally speaking for tartan, we're talking ounces. So 16 ounces versus 13 ounces, you take 1 yard of the cloth double width. So between 54 to 60 inches wide at 1 yard, cut it, weigh that cloth, and that's what it will be. Now, it really boils down to the size of the yarn and the twist of the yarn and all kinds of different stuff. But it's very much a sliding scale, close enough. This is about this. 16 ounce is considered heavyweight. 13 ounce is considered medium weight. 10, 11 ounce is considered lightweight. That's generally speaking too light for a kilt. If you currently have all 16 ounce wool kilts and you're going to move down to a 13 ounce wool kilt in an 8 yarder, there's not a lot of difference. There's a little bit.
Yeah.
In a 5 yarder, there's a little bit more difference because it's a higher percentage, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, the squish factor is going to be the same.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a visible difference to other people at all. You may find it's a slight bit softer, a little less scratchy, perhaps depending on which mill compared to what you're used to.
Yeah, that's more down to the mill.
Yeah, it is definitely down the mill. But, yeah, nothing to be scared of. It's not going to feel inauthentic or weird or anything.
Nope. All of our America's 250th tartans that we've designed are all 13 ounce wool from House of Edgar, just because they have a huge color range. But 13 ounce we can do for more things. We can make them into women's garments as well as men's garments as well as neckties, versus 16 ounce, which is really just men's kilts. Does not do great for neckties, does not do great for women's wear. Mm-hmm. So there's different horses for different courses. That said, 13 ounce, you're still fine. 11 ounce, it's a little bit light.
Yeah.
Cool. Marty, next question.
Good news from Texas. Rich Kestrel says, I'll probably be coming after that folklore and PV. So
there you go.
We haven't started a fight we can't win yet. Brian Fogarty via Facebook says, from a business standpoint, is there enough demand across all American kilt makers to justify operation of an American woolen mill?
It's like a tartan woolen mill.
Yeah. Okay. So there's Loch Heron, House of Edgar, Martin Mills, Strathmore. There's a few and some smaller mills over in the UK, Scotland, England, Welsh Tartan Center. There's not that many mills in the US. Mills selling tartan, goose egg,
0.
None. Is there enough demand for an American tartan mill? When I've spoken to suppliers and tartan mills over in the UK, hey, where are your biggest customers? What percentage of your customers are, UK based versus Australia versus US versus Canada versus Germany, wherever you are? UK, by and large, their largest customer base for the tartan mills in the UK is the UK. The US is the second biggest market by a pretty long shot. Canada, I think they were estimated from. I'm going off of memory from what the mills have told me. Canada is roughly 20% of the U.S. Of the size of the U.S. market. Australia, again, about 15 to 20%. Germany has some in there, and European, other European countries. But the U.S. is the biggest outside of the U.K. Is there enough business here to sustain it? Ish, but no. So here's what happened. 10 years ago, I started. I had that exact same question. I said, okay, what if we did some weaving here in the U.S.? What if we had some of our custom weaves done here at stateside? So I had to find some different tartan mill or some different mills that worked with wool yarn, so they could do wool fabric. I found one mill. Mac told me about a mill, Colonial Weavers, or I forget the name, Heritage Weavers or something like that. And I contacted them. They sent me some samples of cloth. I have a piece of Black Watch. I have a piece of Scottish National. It was nice cloth, a little in the grease, not fully finished, but nice cloth. Well done, well woven, 16-ounce cloth. And I was speaking to the guy and said, hey, this is nice. Can we get it finished? What would the process be? And we went back and forth on the phone, and basically the issue that we have is, and this is where I go traveling back in time with you, back, and not meaning to sound political. So let's travel back in time to 1991, 1992, on-air TV live debates with Bush, Clinton, and Ross Perot. And when they were talking about NAFTA, talking about free trade, talking about opening things up, and Ross Perot specifically saying, what you will hear is a large sucking sound if you do this, and that will be the sound of jobs leaving the country. And essentially, that is what happened with the clothing trade, with the textile trade. A lot of it left for overseas manufacture. It just became too expensive way too quickly. And all of those, not all, the vast majority of those jobs, the vast majority of those companies were lost. And it's not just weaving. It is spinning. It is companies that do the dyeing. It's the companies that do the warping to get the mills to do. It's the companies that do the actual weaving on the looms. It's the companies that do the finishing process. It's all of these different things. They had an industry here in the States that was very, they had some pockets, some areas where there was more of these particular types of things, but this company helped prop up that company, helped prop up this company, and they all worked together. The problem was, as things started to slow down at the mill, they were ordering, less yarn from this yarn supplier, who was then getting less yarn dyed from this local dye house. And all these things very much had a domino effect. And it hollowed out the industry in the U.S. for these trades. Back to the present, or back to 15 years ago, 10 years ago, when I spoke to the gent from that particular mill, what we discovered was, okay, if I wanted to have particular tartans woven to my spec, meaning 16 ounce, here's the colors, let's go. He would have to have it dyed in one state and then sent to him to specific yarn shades, and just doing enough just for me, for the record. And then he would want to weave a huge amount of cloth, not just calling up a couple yards here and there, but weaving 60, 120, 200, 300. Really, he wanted huge orders, like 500-600 yards of cloth. And then he would have to take that cloth from the Carolinas, I think he was in North Carolina, and send it to New Jersey on a UPS truck, additional cost, to be finished in New Jersey, have it then sent back to him to be inspected, and then have it sent to me. All of these different stops, all of these different things add time, add money, add cost to this entire process. When all was said and done, he said, yeah, I can do it. It's going to be, X number of dollars per yard. Here's your minimums. Here's what we have to do. It was cheaper by a long shot and much lower minimums to just keep ordering from the places in the UK that already do this stuff for a living. And I didn't have to reinvent the wheel over here. So ultimately I said, thank you. And, we shook hands and, kind of left it at that. And he's doing his business. Frankly, most of his cloth he leaves in the grease. He does historical things that don't need the finishing process because he doesn't want to have to do it and add that additional cost and time and labor. So yes, we've looked at it. It is not really feasible. And the parallel is, in the UK, they didn't have that same giant sucking sound as Ross Perot said. They still have those industries over in England, in Scotland, that exist because they never let it go. They kept doing it the whole time, and they've propped up their own industry. There's two mills that one of the dye houses was going to go out of business. And two of the competing entity mills went in together and bought the dye house to make sure that it exists because they get their yarn dyed at this particular place. That is how seminal all of the different components are to the process. I don't think people realize how tenuous, how small this, tenuous these connections are, and how small this industry actually is. We have Keith from Loch Heron and Nick from House of Edgar coming out after a trade show in a few weeks, and I'm going to interview them and kind of, competing mills, and I'm going to talk to them and kind of have a roundtable discussion about the industry in general and how things are, where they're going, where they are, all that kind of stuff. It's neat to know the inner workings of this thing, but it is a lot more fragile than a lot of people realize. It's kind of we're only, one generation away from losing democracy. We're only one generation away from losing kilt making and tartan weaving in production in the UK. Wow. It's kind of that tenuous. It's not like it's dire and everything's going to go tits up, a week from now, but we have to keep supporting the mills that are supporting the culture and that are doing the things, because like the Walmartification of America, the argument, and this isn't me bashing on Walmart, the people that argue against Walmart and what they do is they go into a community and they offer lower prices and they do all these things, and then all of the mom and pop shops in the surrounding community go out of business because they can't compete. And once they're out, everyone's reliant on Walmart, but no one's making any money unless you work at Walmart, because that's the only place you can work. And then once no one's making any money and no one's spending any money, then Walmart goes, this store isn't profitable anymore. And then they leave, and it just hollows out the community. The same kind of thing can happen here. And the way to guard against it is supporting these artisans, supporting these companies that prop up the entire industry. So, sorry, I will get off my soapbox. I went off on a crazy tangent there. But, yes, so the short answer is no, it can't really be done in the U.S. There was one mill way back when we first started in Canada called Fraser and Kirkbright that used to weave tartan in British Columbia. And they basically, it was a very small operation with only a couple looms, and they closed up, I want to say 15 years ago now, and ended up selling their looms to Ingalls Buchan over in Scotland. And they are kind of like wholesalers for him or something like that. So it's a very small industry with not a lot of working parts.
There you go.
Yes. So buy quality stuff and support quality artisans or something. Mm-hmm. So this isn't meant to be a downer. I shouldn't meant it on a downer. Let's say something nice. But it's great and robust, and we're all going to have a good time.
We can't support American tartan mills because there aren't any, but we can support UK tartan mills who are legit and are keeping things alive.
Yep. And we're supporting the companies that are supporting the culture, and we are,
Right.
we are a link in that chain. If we, not we as in USA Kilts, we as in you out there and us over here, we are a link in that chain, unbroken chain from the 1700s all the way through, and it's going to live beyond us, but it's not going to die on our watch, and that's the point.
Brr.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's a much better end to that question. All right, Marty, before I say something depressing, get me out of here.
Shop small. Paul Connolly Hartman on Facebook says, wearing flashes with tall boots, yay or nay?
Flashes with tall boots. All right, Jordan.
I've got a pair of kinky boots.
Bring in the photo. All right.
Oh, baby.
Oh. I will say something potentially shocking to some. I don't hate the boots themselves.
I love those boots.
I am not a tall boot fan, but I don't hate them on other people. What I do hate are the compression socks and the flashes. Those aren't kilt hose.
Those are not kilt hose. Yeah.
They're socks, and the flashes look weird shoved up underneath there and sticking out of the top. I would say this. This is a contemporary kilt and contemporary pair of boots that have nothing to do with Highland culture.
Right.
Don't make it about Highland culture. Don't put the flashes there. Don't try to make your compression socks into kilt hose.
You don't need them.
You don't need it. It's fine as is.
They would actually look better without them. Cleaner lines, basically.
Yep.
So now that's with a utility kilt and those boots.
Yeah. Band shirt, a graphic tee, or even just solid color shirt, flat cap or otherwise, solid color traditional kilt or solid color utility kilt, excuse me, and a pair of weird high kinky boots. That's fine. Have at it. Leave the sporran out. leave the flashes out, leave the kilt hose out, and just go all in on the rock star vibe that you're trying to do there. Again, I would not cross the streams, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a parallel, and we do have a lot of guys who wear great kilts in the contemporary modern way, which is basically, down over the belt, not coming up onto the torso. And a lot of time they will wear
Catskill moccasins.
or like Son of Sandler or Rocky Mountain Oyster. I forget the other name for the boot company, but high Ren Fair kind of boots, and it looks pretty BA. It looks really good. But again, you don't need the flashes to keep them up. I mean, the whole point of the flashes is that they were a decoration added to sock garters, which are there for the practical reason of keeping your socks, your kilt hose, up. If you're trying to keep your kilt hose up only like this many inches from the top of your boot, it's not necessary. As opposed to if you're wearing regular shoes, then the garter serves a purpose from keeping the sock from going. So the boots are doing the job of the sock garters. You do not need the flashes. It's just it looks odd because it's a trying too hard kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not meant as a diss. It's just basically, you don't need them. You don't need them. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And we do recommend that you need to make a conscious choice if you're wearing something which is more typical, like a Doc Martin, a combat boot, police patrol boot, that kind of like a 12 hole boot, something like
15
that,
or 18 hole,
18. Then you got to decide if you want to have the hose all the way up with the garters or ruched down, casual to the top of the boot. So
yeah, I apologize. I was going the wrong direction. So if it's 18 hole, which are really, really, really high, no. If it's 8 hole, 12 hole, basically mid. I'm going to be very careful here. Like up to here on your leg, like mid calf or lower, then sure, wear the flashes, wear the kilt hose. But higher, nah, forgo it.
And I would say in those cases, if you're going casual, I prefer ruching the kilt hose rather than wearing flashes. There
you go. See, that's a set of. That is a set of or a pair of boots. Those are probably 8 holes, and they look good. They're not going up too high.
Right.
If they went up another 3 inches, that's a bit too close even for my taste.
Yeah, they wouldn't need it.
It would be like 10 or 12 holes. But yeah, if they're 8 holes, fine.
And
8-inch boots.
That is Matt Home, who is a master at looking good in a great kilt. He's a styling dude. Now, but I would say even just with a regular tailored kilt too. It's just if you're going for a casual look, I think you're more likely to want to ruche the kilt hose. But as soon as you start dressing up a little bit, you want the flashes.
Yep. Agreed.
Ta-da.
Marty. We have a question about footwear, but before I get to that, to piggyback, the first time I ever saw a person in real life wearing a great kilt was at the punk festival I did, and it was same kind of thing. They wore I don't know any bands. They wore a Nirvana shirt, but cooler, some different band, and a great kilt in like a gray and black kind of thing, and it was very utilitarian.
Yeah. And
they were able to wear it, for like it's Camp Pennsylvania, so they were out in the woods and able to wear it. And it was they paired it with a lot of different accessories all around the outside, making it very, very versatile. But it was it was interesting to see it like that. The first time I saw a kilt was not at some more refined Burns
Celtic
dinner
festival,
type thing.
yeah.
Celtic festival, yeah. On to the question about the boots. Any suggestions on footwear without laces for those of us with arthritis?
Chelsea boots. Chelsea's.
Matt Ingram just said that. Blundstone Chelsea boots.
Yep. Chelsea boots actually date back to 1850, by the way. They picked up the name Chelsea later on, but they were actually invented. They're theoretically another one of those things we can thank His Highness Prince Albert for. He wanted something for use in going outdoors up at Balmoral, and so the elasticized boot was invented because of him. So I know you don't like them, but
I do not.
But there's nothing wrong with them in my opinion. And if he's got arthritis and can't deal with laces, I think that's the perfect option. Personally,
I would almost I would almost posit, like, I don't like Chelsea boots. I don't think boots or shoes, period, that don't have laces, I don't like them with a kilt. I don't. This is my personal bias, fully recognized, don't care. I think shoes with laces look best with a kilt, bar none. I would almost go so far as if you're gonna wear it, okay. Here's me being sensitive. You have arthritis. I get it. It's not fun. I have arthritis as well. Medicated, happily. I would potentially look at getting some elastic laces, some of those like elastic lace things, and then a shoehorn to get your foot in and out of the shoe. Okay. I would rather do that or tie it loose and get your shoe or get your foot in and out that way, or boots with zippers than non-laced.
Yeah,
shoes.
There's some
footwear.
Walking boots that have side zips. Mm-hmm. I've even seen some that are, I don't know if I've seen that any that are brogue, but there are some fashion boots out there for men that do have a side zip. So okay.
Now, is it the arthritis in the hands that he can't tie, or is it the arthritis in the feet and that's the problem and the laces hurt?
Thursday
in the foot. Yep.
Thursday boots.
Yeah, Thursday boots are good. I have those.
Beautiful boots.
Danner. There's Chippewa I have. There's some American-made boot companies, which I prefer. Yeah. So there are plenty of options. But yeah, to my eye, laced shoes look great with a kilt. Non-laced, like I could never wear boat shoes or penny loafers with a kilt. It would look weird. I would no, never mind. I wouldn't do it. Cannot do it. Won't do it. Nope. I'll go barefoot.
Figure out what are those options that we talked about in a very genteel and supportive way that works best for you.
Sandals.
Crocs.
Flip-flops.
Crocs. I'd go with the Crocs.
Yeah.
Gilliators.
Yeah. No, those have laces.
Oh.
But you can't pull too tight or else you rip out the eyes.
Right.
Somebody made a pair of Gilly Brogues Crocs mix, and everyone was like trying to tighten their shoes and rip the laces out because it's just PU material. So
PU.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Enough of that. Marty, next question.
Yeah. To clarify, Robert specified it is in the hands.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Then elastic laces, pre-tie them, and then slip your foot in with a shoehorn. That's my suggestion. Next.
Okay. On to the next question. Bill Lockhart via email form. I am shaped like an egg. When I wear a kilt, it's a struggle to keep it in position and neat. I use a wide belt, but it can only do so much, and with a sporran, it's only worse. The weight of the kilt material responds to the enticement of gravity, as does my body. The net effect is not complementary. Is it appropriate to wear suspenders? Are there acceptable alternatives? To clarify, I'm not laughing at Bill's problem. I just wasn't expecting
the egg.
I am shaped like an egg. That's the opening sentence.
Are suspenders acceptable to wear with the kilt? Yes. I prefer suspenders if you can wear a vest or wear them under something else. If you're wearing a sweater in the fall, great, wear suspenders. You can't see them. If you're wearing a tweed vest, great, wear suspenders. Can't see it. If you're wearing a shirt you have to tuck in, varying degrees of success. Yeah, you can wear them. It's not the end of the world. Your thoughts?
Yep.
I think we have a photo.
We do have a picture of. Not many people do this, so photos are limited.
I wouldn't do the tartan suspenders.
The tartan suspenders were in my collection just because they're kind of unique. I would not recommend them personally.
They are unique.
But he's a hoopy fruit there. He's styling. We have had people request that we install buttons for braces
on occasion.
Because that's more secure than using clip-on braces by a long shot. So yeah, there are people who do it. We've had people who have issues with their stomachs where like they can't have any pressure against their torso because of medical issues,
surgery or whatever.
So braces are a really good solution for that. But yeah, ideally you're covering them with a layer so they're invisible. And yeah, the lack of a belt can help. However, you're probably going to want a sporran, so there's that.
I'll point to two other things. One, make sure that when you're wearing your kilt, so your words, not mine, although I'd use the same phrasing anyway, for people that are egg-shaped, okay? You want to make sure that the top of the kilt is above the widest part of the egg. The top buckle on the side, or on both sides of your kilt, is above the widest part of the egg and pulled in snug. Now, for gentlemen of substance, for bigger customers, there's two, there's different types, but there's, two general types of bigger guys. There's squishy, marshmallowy bigger guys, and then there's like hard, solid bigger guys. For the hard, solid bigger guys, it's a little bit less of a problem. It's generally speaking for the guys that are a little softer, a little fluffier, so to speak, that it tends to move down or move as you move about. So, first suggestion, make sure it's above the widest part of the egg. Second suggestion, you can get rubberized strips. That they make them for certain pants, and tailors should be able to install these. A rubberized strip, and you just sew it in the inside upper portion of the kilt, up near the waistband, up near the top. And when you have your shirt tucked in, the rubberized strip, again, these were designed for dress pants, grabs onto the shirt. So when you sit down, it's pulling the shirt down with you, and it's holding your pants, or in this case your kilt, up with the shirt. So if you can find that material, or if you go to a local tailor or a dry cleaner with a tailoring service and ask, hey, do you have any of that rubberized material that you can put into dress pants? Could I have you install that in my kilt? They may be able to do that for you, and that might help solve your problem as well, because the kilt won't want to slip down. It kind of grabs the shirt a little bit. So that's an out-of-the-box idea for you.
I've never heard you suggest that before.
I think I have at least once on one other time. But yeah.
Okay.
Yep. They, like the trews or the tartan trousers
Yeah, I know
we
what
get
you
made,
mean.
we can get them with that on the inside. So, yeah. It's a little tidbit. All right.
Good luck.
Yes. Mr. Marty.
On to the next question here. We have Stephen Pickering via Facebook. For some reason, my flat caps just don't sit right. Is it the size or style? We do have a picture here, and I'll read off the bit here. Number 1 fits okay, but doesn't seem right. Number
One
2,
is one on the left.
Okay, so we're going left to right
think.
here?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1 fits okay, but doesn't seem right. Number 2, the wool is horrible, and I have no idea what number 3, the 8-piece linen, is doing.
Okay. So, Jordan, bring the photo down to the bottom. All right. So, for the record, this took me a minute in reading this question and seeing this photo to realize these are 3 different hats.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all. The man has a type. The type is black. So, the one that's right here in front of me, this one looks reasonable. I don't think it looks like it fits him perfectly, but it looks reasonable. I would say pull in all of these hats. My pat advice is pull down on the hat. So get it to form fit to your head better. A lot of these, it looks like he's, I'm going to put on a flat cap. It looks like he's just putting it on his head and letting it kind of sit. Well, I can't even make this one look that bad. He's putting it on his head. It kind of looks like bunched up. It's not sitting form-fitting on his head. So the first suggestion is put it on the head and pull it down. On the sides and the top. If it's still looking like that, then the second suggestion I would have for you, especially if it's a natural fabric like linen or wool or cotton, not man-made, but if it's a man-made or if it's a natural fabric, get it wet. Or damp. Use an iron with like a steam iron or a steamer and get it hot and damp, and then put it on your head. Squish it down on the sides. Make sure it's pulled nice and taut all the way around your head. And then while it's still damp, wear it. Don't just, get it there and then put it down. Wear it while it is damp and wet. It's in developing the hats that we've been developing, I've figured out that A, they absolutely need to be steamed. B, it has to be formed to a head shape in order to look good on the other end of it. So 100%, get it damp, get it steamed, and then put it on your head and pull it and form it the way you want it to look while you're wearing it. Third thing I'm going to point out, for really all three of these, and this is not meant to sound insulting, although it's about to, these hats look cheap. They don't look like good quality hats to me. I'm a little bit of a hat snob, a little bit of a connoisseur, a wee bit. I'm even starting a hat side business to do these things. I would say they look like, $20 to $30 hats. So it could be either the material, and you're fighting against nature here because the material is kind of poor, or the blend, or it could be the pattern itself. The actual pattern that they use to make the hat could be meh at best. And if it's a meh pattern, no matter how good the fabric is, no matter how much you shape it, if the pattern itself is off, the hat's not going to be great. So there's a lot of different potential things at play here. So the only thing, already owning these, not saying go out and buy new hats, although if you do, USA Kilts, but if you already own these and you want to try to make them work, get it wet, put it on, form it while it's on your head, and then wear it until it dries, and you'll see a vast improvement.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have nothing to add. It's just, I think it is a question of quality, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
That would account for the issues with the linen one also.
So yeah, there's not a lot to say. You got to play with it. And every single hat that comes out of wherever, it doesn't matter the company. There may be some minor customizations or tweaking to get it to fit you exactly perfectly. I mean, in looking at your photo, it doesn't look like you have a weird shaped head, or it's flat, or it's bulbous, or anything weird. You don't look like like you're an odd dude. So I'm not concerned about that. It's more the pattern or the actual the individual flat caps that you have specifically gotten are probably the problem. So, and I can't tell if it's too tight, like the band around is too tight, but there's too much fabric up in the crown. Not exactly sure.
Is it fair to say that if a hat comes in centimeter European sizes versus small, medium, large XL, it's probably a better hat?
Maybe. Generally, if it's small, medium, like if it's generic sizing like that, it's, a large is going to be, like they'll say, like, if you're a 57 or a 58 centimeter head circumference, you're going to order a large. Okay, that means that, or a medium. So that means that it really is made to a 58 and a half. And if you're a 57, it's going to be a little bit loose, but if you go down to a small, it's going to be a little bit big. And whereas if you're going by individual numbers, that means that each size is 1 centimeter bigger as you go up. A lot of U.S. hat makers, for the record, do it in half-inch increments. So it's like 21 inch, 21 and a half, 22, 22 and a half.
Yeah.
But the size ranges of small, medium, large, X double are like an inch or so difference per size. So it's a little bit wonkier.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's just like everything, there's different levels of quality in materials, in patterns, in labor, in all of it. So you got to try different hats. I would honestly say if all of those hats are $20 to $30, save up and get a $50, get a $70 hat. Try to move up in scale and see if you have the same problem. And if you do, return it immediately. Don't just wait and be like, no, send it back. And then look for another hat maker and then send it back. Don't settle for subpar stuff just because of price either low or high. Don't settle. And there's nothing wrong, for the record, with a $25 hat. I have a Dockers linen hat, which was cheap as chips that I got at Kohl's, and I love the freaking thing. It fits better than almost any other hat that I have. Now it's old and worn and dirty and all that kind of stuff, even though I washed it. But it was a cheap hat, and I love how it fits. The pattern was great, the material's good enough, and the price was right, and I wore the hell out of it. But that's not always the case. So, very good. Mr. Marty.
From Brian Woolen via email form. Hey guys, Longtime listener of KNC Live, first time question. I was asked to play the bagpipes at an outdoor wedding this May, evening time around 5 p.m. I have an Argyle and a Prince Charlie jacket. I'm leaning toward the PC since it looks more formal, but what's the right choice? Or should I get an answer from the bride? As a photographer, do that one.
Yeah, I was going to say, always safest to ask, ask the bride.
But
Is it bagpiper or photographer? He's a
oh,
bagpiper.
I'm sorry, he's a bagpiper. I was a photographer once.
Got it.
Once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
If you are going to a wedding, I'd go Argyle. Period. Argyle jackets or piper cut jackets and vests. Piper jackets, or Argyles, or very very similar to Argyles. The PC is really a black tie formal thing, so it's a little bit much.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't do that. And the other thing I'll point out is in Prince Charlie PC, it's cut higher on the sides, so when your arm is up over top of the bag for the bagpipes, you're going to see the white shirt.
Your shirt's going to poof out.
Yeah, exactly. So I 100% would go with an Argyle. 2, asking the bride, never a bad idea because they're the one paying you, so you want to make sure they're happy. 3, a thing that I have said multiple times over the years. If I was a bagpiper, you are a solopreneur. You are a one-man business. The way, outside of your quality of playing and word of mouth, the way to differentiate yourself as a business, and I go into my business brain to say this, is maybe if you have 2 or 3 kilts or 2 or 3 jackets, I would offer that as an option to the bride or to the wedding party and say, hey, I have these 3 tartans. Which one of these matches your wedding colors the best? I'll wear that one to your event. Or do you like the tweed jacket look? And I'd let them kind of customize it a little bit, as long as it's not putting you out, as long as everything fits the same and it's you don't love one or hate one or this one doesn't fit you anymore. I would offer that option to them as one more way to get excited about you and get excited about hiring you and bringing you into the event and making you feel like more is part of the ceremony.
Right. Yep.
Thoughts?
The only thing I would recommend is you could also just go topless. Assuming you're kind of buff, just do the I am the piper, warrior piper, blah, blah, blah. Or, at the very least, don't worry about what you're wearing and just make sure that you play Thunderstruck. Even if they ask for something else,
yes,
play Thunderstruck.
Brides love surprises at their wedding, especially coming down the aisle.
Absolutely.
You start with Highland Cathedral, then you transition into Thunderstruck.
Yes.
Indeed. Or little chutes and ladders from Corn. Okay. Indeed.
My point being now, I think an Argyle is perfect. A lot of time for an afternoon wedding, they'll accept you in just a waistcoat, no jacket at all. But based on the timing of the wedding you're talking about, you definitely want a jacket. If you are doing this professionally, then invest in a couple of different things. Get a Piper Flex jacket. They're fantastic for the purpose, designed for the purpose. They make you look a lot better, and they're just so much more comfortable. If you're not a professional, it's basically follow the KISS rule. You don't want to upstage the bride or the groom. You are there in a servitory context. So
you're
simple.
You're a supporting role. Don't give main character energy. You're a supporting role.
Right.
All right, Marty.
Yes.
Give me the last question there.
The very last question from Thomas Hinton via Facebook is, how do I build the confidence to wear a kilt more often?
How do you build the confidence to wear a kilt more often?
I don't know.
Got me.
What are you asking us? What?
The fact that you're asking the question means you're already there. It is as I've said, a mental curb this high. It is something that you have to either got it or you don't. And I'm assuming if you know that we exist, you probably already own a kilt. You've probably done research. You've probably starting to put together parts of your outfit. You probably own parts of your outfit. So I'd say baby steps. So the way to wear it more often, wear it to a place where you're comfortable and you're not concerned that people are going to give negative comments. Wear it to an Irish pub out to dinner, wear it to a Celtic event, wear it to a concert, wear it to a Ren Fair, something where people aren't going to give you guff for your outfit choice. That said, ultimately, it's not your problem if someone has an issue.
Yeah.
You have to recognize that you're just doing you and you're not hurting anybody. You're expressing your heritage. You're having fun and wearing it in a respectful way. And if some truckload of passing kids makes a comment and calls you gay, who cares? You're never going to see these kids. These aren't your kids. These are some random kids or some random jerk or some random woman, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They don't affect your life. The people that matter don't mind, and the people that mind don't matter. So do what you do, wear the kilt, have fun with it, get out there and be an inspiration to other people. If you wear the kilt, you are going to inspire someone else who has Scottish heritage, who has Irish heritage, to say, hey, that looks awesome. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to get a kilt too. Or they're going to say, hey, I have a kilt at home. And then you ask them, why aren't you wearing it? Why aren't you wearing it today? And they're going to be like, you know what? I should. And you're going to inspire somebody else to go out and do the thing. So be the person that you want to see out in the world. Be the person that your 6-year-old self would have looked up to. That is how you do it. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I don't want to undercut the enthusiasm of you preachifying.
Fair.
Other than the preachifying done by my brother here, I will say go out with friends. Go out with friends, whether they're kilted or not. Have a posse, have a crew, take it in phases, so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Check your outfit before you go out in the mirror. Check your outfit in the mirror before you go out. Don't take the mirror with you. Other tips and tricks. We actually have a whole article about this on the blog, on the website. We have how to develop kilt confidence. The last piece of advice I will give is script some responses, so that if you do encounter something negative or a compliment, either way, you are not tongue-tied for lack of experience and lack of being able to think. So like if your brain goes into shock for some reason because it's a new experience, you don't have to think about what you're going to say. Script some answers you can use automatically. So if somebody says something, you can just automatically it's like, and your mother too.
You have one in the chamber. Yeah.
Exactly, one in the chamber. Scripting is a huge survival skill socially, especially for people who are socially awkward or who are on spectrum, ADHD, things like that. Working in retail, having the code switch, any of those kind of situations, scripting is your friend. So come up with some little scripts for yourself and have that memorized just in case you need it. But I think going out with your friends and doing it as regularly as possible, build deadlines for yourself. Give yourself an accountability partner. One of your buddies is like, okay, you said today's the day, let's do it. Set goals, set deadlines, those kinds of things. Mental tricks like that, like you'd use for any potentially stressful situation, will work. And the thing is, you're going to find this just gets almost immediately after you do it a couple of times, it just feels easier and easier and easier. And then it becomes unconscious.
Yeah.
And then like the story that you and I both related about, like you're in a store or someplace and somebody says something to you and you don't know why. And right, I'm wearing a kilt. Like I forgot. Because it's become second nature. So that'll happen faster than you think, honestly.
And you have to, it's easier said than done, and I don't know how old the person asking the question is, but the more you do it, the less you care. And the more you have to recognize that other people's opinions of you do not matter.
Yep.
F them. If they're not helping you on your journey in life, why does it matter at all? It has to roll off a duck's back and just be like, bloop, gone. If somebody says, nice skirt, your answer should be, thanks. Full stop. You don't need to give an explanation. You don't need to know it's not a skirt. You don't need to get defensive. Just thanks. And it breaks their brain. They don't understand but I just insulted you, and you're not taking my insult. And they almost get angrier, and you have to find joy in their confusion and their anger. Let that help you build your confidence in confusing people.
Yep.
And all of that will build over time. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. It's like driving a car. It's like riding a bike. The first time you did it, you were wobbly. You didn't know how to stay between the lines. You know, you fell off the bike a couple times. It doesn't matter. Just keep up, keep going, keep going, keep going. And eventually, it's just going to be second nature. And once you get to that point, you look back and go, what was I even concerned about?
Yeah.
It's like your first kiss. It's your stomach is in knots. You want to throw up. You're like, oh my God, I gotta kiss a girl. And then you freak out. And then after your 4th, 5th, 897th kiss, you're just like, it's nothing. It's fine. It's good. So, same thing applies here. Have at it. Marty, before we sign off, what were the questions? What were the comments?
First of all, well said, sir, is kind of the general feeling. Jordan brought up the blog article that I believe Eric wrote about this. Did you write this?
Yeah, it's an old one, but
that
still legit.
Image cackled,
What, the cat?
completely broke at me, yes. But what I like is the bold answer there where it's, in a nutshell, just wear it, which is that way, right there.
It's true.
Yeah, I also like the metaphor of the first kiss. I flashed right back and I was like, oh God. And
Oh God.
I forgot how scared I was.
Yep. We're all wimps until we do the thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm still a wimp.
Yep. Now it's not, being what's the phrase, like basically you just something about fear and going through it.
Courage is not in
being unafraid.
Not being afraid. It's about being afraid and doing it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Yep.
Very good. So, even though you're afraid, do it anyway.
Yep.
I promise it'll be fine. All right, boys and girls, thank you for joining us. Until next time, Slán Javá.